Communications Day in the Catholic Church focuses on fake news. Learning literacy and life skills for a better future. And thinking global in a local setting.
This is the National EMTV News with Mary Bertulo.
A very good evening. Thank you for joining us. This is Saturday's news. Every year on the Sunday before Pentecost, the Catholic Church celebrates the achievements of communications media and reflects on how best it can promote positive behavior in societies. Each year, the Pope issues a message in a theme. This year's theme, Journalism for Peace, the truth will set you free, put a spotlight on fake news and elements that fuel its popularity in society.
Catholic churches around the world recognize this Sunday as World Communication Day. The Catholic Bishops' Conference in Port Moresby marked the day by inviting journalists to an open discussion. The topic, fake news. It is a matter that has caused division from the highest of authorities to the grassroots and PNG societies and provoked chaos and confusion among people. The conversation today was centered around Pope Francis' message condemning fake news as snake tactics used to mislead societies.
Be it by way of print or audio or visual, or be it in a conversation. And there are some people who can just lie with a very straight face.
Journalists at the conference were very vocal about how fake news also challenged their day-to-day pursuit of news articles. Bishop Rokus Tatamai, president of the Bishops' Conference of PNG and Solomon Islands, who also publishes articles of his own independently, said he could empathize with the challenges they faced.
Is that you are all doing your very best, and you know that we all want to do to expose the truth, the full truth. And this is something that we lack in public media.
Father Ambrose Pereira, CBC Secretary for Communication and Youth, closed the conversation today, encouraging journalists to inspire peace through their articles and focus on matters that were constructive to society rather than destroy it. Melissa Goviro, National EMTV News.
20 students successfully completed an adult vernacular reading, writing and life skills literacy teacher training this week at ERMA in Port Moresby. This 8-month course was initiated by a Community Services Network program and funded and facilitated by Resource Development Foundation. Keynote speaker, National Literacy Awareness Secretariat Director Willie Jonduo said PNG's biggest obligation is to help those who are illiterate.
After 8 months of training, 20 teachers graduated on Wednesday with a certificate in adult vernacular reading, writing, and life skills. National Literacy Awareness Secretariat Director Willie Jonduo applauded their accomplishment. He said the country has a population of almost 8 million people. However, more than half of this number are illiterate.
Na plan di belum alman meri sa read na right finish, mi go back, mi sa volume 2. Because only no sa read na right, you sabe man meri, you go volume 2. You pa pon giniet, you volume mi na desla administrate.
Resource Development Foundation consultant principals Kevin and Yvonne White, who live in New Zealand, traveled back and forth to facilitate the training.
Not just Mary blouses, but shirts like this one I'm wearing. This was made by the group here. And the Mary blouse that Yvonne's making.
And skirts and,
yeah.
And cloth bags and things like that to help them economically, to help their families, and in helping the families, then helping the community.
This training changed the way individuals understood what literacy meant.
Literacy before me plus align him plus literacy also I call him read and write so. All narabla was cooking, sewing, baking or knitting, so all this land or me plus sabelo read and write and literacy. That's all now me look sabelo was literacy and be plus something. I need literacy, plant something and stuff.
Gina Kellogg said the training is very important and will have great impact on their community at Erima settlement.
All Narba provinces sleep number laya around him this last church. So he like awesome network, awesome helping all community. Reach out long all. Now all two can come inside. Now we plug and school him all or line him all. So by the maybe about 5, 10, 15 years and all can take a survey or make one something. Long all yet. All no can depend too much like government help him all missionaries help him all or no card. Me play yet must make him.
Lilian Soperakinea, National EMTV News.
The Cheshire Disability Centre was recently given much-needed donations by Telecom Foundation. The centre, located in Port Moresby, while providing education for children with special needs and chiropractic assistance, also has 19 permanent residents. According to the centre, funding is limited and donations are always welcomed.
The donations from the Telecom Foundation were well received by the Cheshire Disability Services. The donations were specifically for the 19 special needs residents.
This morning we're here to give some support in terms of that, and we brought some detergents. These are essential items that they need. Some detergents, toilet paper, more or less toiletries, and hygiene items for them. So it's very significant to us. We're happy to support that, and we hope to support the Cheshire Home going forward.
Sonia Becks, Cheshire's communication manager, thanked Telecom and supporting partners for their continuous support.
We are very thankful that we have Telecom alongside other partners as well, whom I cannot name all of them, but it's a big thank you to you all out there, as well as Telecom Foundation for this support. And we are grateful, and we'd like to have more of that partnership in the future.
Cheshire Disability Services, while having a school for children with special needs and a rehabilitation program, also house 19 permanent residents. Beck says donations of cash in kind assist the centre in housing the residents.
With the recent change of the name to Cheshire Disability Services, we have now this as a program that runs on its own. We have the 19 residents, the persons with disabilities whom we take care of here 24 hours, 24 hours daily.
Cheshire corporate sausage sizzles are monthly held in Port Moresby, and if you wish to donate food, a food basket can be found at the sausage sizzles.
So this food basket is it's been run alongside a sausage sizzle. It's where we collect items, food items, the necessary items that comes, and we have it stocked here for our residents. Yes.
Adelaide Sirox, Kari, National EMTV News.
You're watching National EMTV News. We go for our first break now, but when we come back, we'll have more of the day's stories for you. Don't go away. Welcome back to the news. The Ekivaki Primary School was reopened this week after being closed for over a month. The closure affected over 2,000 students from elementary to grade 8. The closure came after health inspectors found deteriorating ablution buildings, malfunctioning water facets, no hand wash basins, toilets were closed, and insufficient sanitary facilities compared to the number of students, and no provision of drinking water taps. The impact on the health and education of the children prompted the National Capital District Commission to intervene with urgent repairs to the affected facilities to allow children back into class. The repairs cost the NCDC close to 150,000 kina. In Awaya village in the Kairuku district of Central Province officially opened an Eco-Pacific Tourism Institute this week. Also during the opening, the institute saw over 60 pioneer graduates receive their certificates. Tourism and Culture Minister Emil Tamor applauded the initiative, saying this is a great example of thinking global and acting within the local setting.
Over 60 students graduated from Eco-Pacific Tourism Institute yesterday. Tourism and Culture Minister Emil Tamor commended the village for the initiative of starting this institute.
It is us from the villages that we have to stand up and do things on our own. Start initiative. The government will come and assist if you already start something. This is the way forward. If you think of staying around in the villages, doing nothing, and trying to go into the big city to look for better life there is no better life in the city. Life is here in the village. This is where we belong.
Eco-Pacific Tourism Institute offers 10 courses and tuition fees range between 1,000 to 2,000 kina. This institution aims at bringing skills-based training to local communities. All students graduated with tourism and hospitality as their foundation course. PNG Tourism Promotion Authority funded the building of facilities with a value of 50,000 kina.
So that the young man was more determined. He had a big dream, and I thought that we just need to support him to make it happen. And today I am really happy and excited to see the hard work.
Graduating student Geraldine Kathy Laua dreams of being an air stewardess and is looking forward to on-job training, which will happen in the next month.
And to work. Yeah. My aim is I want to become a flight attendant. Yeah.
Another graduating student, Charles Minos, said this institute has given him hope for a prosperous future.
And I wish to become a programmer in the future to supporting my village as well, Kairukuiri, and also in future helping the people of Papua New Guinea.
The semester of the institute has just ended. However, Minister Tamur is committing another 50,000 kina to complete the project, which will include a library and kitchen.
For Arts, Culture and Tourism, I officially open the Eco-Pacific Tourism Center.
Lilian Soperakinea, National EMTV News.
The third media education seminar for Catholic students was held recently at Bomana. The three-day program had over 50 participants consisting of students from 7 schools and their teachers and animators. The program covered fundamentals of radio and basic video shoots. Radio Maria was there to record and edit jingles and drama produced by students. Program organizer Father Ambrose Pereira said the opportunity to speak on camera and view their short speeches enabled participants to view how they present themselves to others to build confidence. By the end of the sessions, each school acted, shot and edited their own short films. Jubilee Catholic Secondary, Marineville Secondary, Caritas Technical School, Don Bosco Technical School, Limana Vocational, Don Bosco Technical Institute and Sacred Heart Teachers College were the participating schools in the media seminar. This is Saturday's News. We take a look at stories making headlines overseas when we come back. Stay tuned. Welcome back to National EMTV News. Turning overseas now, China's transport system has yet another problem. Apart from traffic congestion, mountains of communal bikes have started piling in China suburbs. A marketing scheme for bikes on hire that can be unlocked by an app and parked anywhere in the city for rehiring has left the streets of China filled with bicycles.
It could be mistaken for a field of flowers, but look closer. This is a crop not of plants, but of metal and rubber. Thousands upon thousands of bikes impounded in the city of Wuhan. Bike sharing has taken China by storm. Unlocked with a wave of a phone, they can be hired or off-hired anywhere. But the innovative technology has brought with it a frenzy of speculation. Chinese cities have been deluged with bikes, millions of them. Backed with huge investment, dozens of companies have been fighting for market share, resulting in blocked pavements and a random sprinkling of abandoned bikes almost everywhere you look. In some cities, the authorities have had enough. The extraordinary thing is that many of these bikes are brand new, hardly used at all. Forget stock market bubbles and property bubbles, forget the .com bubble. This is one with wheels on. This is China's bike-sharing bubble. Photos of other bike mountains have been popping up online. Here's one in the city of Xiamen. And this is Shanghai. Yes, those really are bikes down there. But the reality is China faces a far bigger transport challenge: traffic congestion, chronic pollution, and a growing health crisis. And it's not just bikes that block pavements. As the Chinese bike-sharing schemes arrive in more British cities, lessons, they say, will have been learned.
In New Zealand now, tax regulations on smokeless tobacco products are now being debated. Some say the smokeless products are less harmful than normal cigarettes, while health experts say research is still in its early stages on whether these smokeless products are harmful.
At the moment, all tobacco products, except those that can be chewed or dissolved, can be lawfully imported, sold and distributed under current laws which restrict advertising and prevent sales to minors. But the report's author says it doesn't make sense to regulate less harmful smokeless products in the same way as cigarettes.
The thing that all of these products have in common is that they don't involve combustion, and that's really important. So all of these products deliver nicotine, which is why smokers smoke in the first place, without all of the harmful byproducts.
The New Zealand Initiative's members include 3 large tobacco companies, but Ms. Jerram says she can give 100% assurance the final report is independent. However, public health researchers' views on the report are mixed. Dr. Penelope Truman at Massey University says many smokers might stop or reduce their habit if vaping was a readily available substitute. And another researcher agrees vaping and e-cigarettes are proving to be good alternatives, but heat-to-burn products are still too new.
I go with a product like Heat Not Burn, which there's much less evidence. Most of the evidence that there is produced by the tobacco industry who make the products, so it's not independent research.
The Associate Minister of Health, Jenny Salesa, agrees vaping is an effective quit-smoking tool.
I'm taking a risk-proportionate approach to this issue, and at the moment I'm still taking advice from the Ministry of Health. The advice I've been given, though, is those sorts of products, vaping products and other products like that, are less harmful.
A decision on how much tax smokeless products will attract is yet to be decided.
The Kilauea volcano on Hawaii's Big Island continues to blow off toxic steam and molten lava. Scientists are saying the volcano is showing signs of exploding, something that only happens once in a century.
Geologists are warning a possible explosion at the summit of Kilauea could be the largest in nearly 100 years, hurling boulders the size of refrigerators. The heavy clouds of smoke coming from the main crater were likely triggered by a rockfall from the crater walls. As the lava levels inside the volcano drain lower, the danger of an eruption can actually increase. When the molten rock reaches groundwater levels, pressurized steam can cause an explosion, shooting rocks and ash miles away from the crater. Further down the volcano, the underground lava oozing through cracks in the neighborhood of Leilani Estates is only about a half-mile away from a geothermal power plant. It's been shut down, and workers trucked away 60,000 gallons of flammable liquids. Hawaii Governor David Ige issued an emergency proclamation to secure the area.
If you project the track of the line of where the fissures are occurring, the PGV facility is on that line. So we definitely want to be prepared.
To the Middle East now, and there has been dramatic escalations between Israel and Iran, with Israel's warplane shooting down dozens of Iranian military targets in Syria and Iran.
This dramatic footage shows Israel's response to what it says were Iranian strikes. While Israel claims Iran launched first, it says most of the 20 missiles Iran fired failed. 4 were shot down by Israel's Iron Dome interception system. Today, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said Iran's first ever direct attack against Israeli military positions crossed a red line. The timing of this escalation has many here worried. It comes after the U.S. pulled out of the Iran nuclear deal with active support from the Israeli government and ahead of a series of patriotic holidays, which this year happened to coincide with the controversial moving of the U.S. embassy from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem. Israel has reinforced its military positions in the Golan Heights, the contested area in Israel's north which borders Lebanon and Syria, where arch-enemy Iran has established a military foothold, with some units just miles from the border. Is Israel at war with Iran?
No.
Amos Gilad, a former major general in Israel's military who spoke at a key security conference today, said Israel acted to prevent all-out war in the future.
The Iranians are determined to build their hostile presence, and we are determined to prevent it. It means practically they attack us, we will attack them.
Israel's defense minister, who spoke at that conference today, put Israel's overwhelming force and threat of retaliation this way: if we get rain, they'll get a flood.
Here with Saturday's news, we take a look at what's happening in sports up next with Trukai Sports. That's coming your way after these messages.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome to Trukai Sports. We begin with football, and the National Capital District Football Association successfully staged its finals football playoff at the PNG Football Stadium today. NCDFA President Voni Kapinato said the competition was a huge success, exposing young talent and potential top league recruits identified as well. The seven-a-side competition marks another milestone for Football Federation of Papua New Guinea.
There is no player in this country have taken that history that Kema have played for a big role for Papua New Guinea. If you can recall Hikari when they won the 2010 the champions of the Oceania, he was the one that scored the 8 goals for us to make it through. So to see him here, I'm very excited, a legend like him. Not only that, the greatest thing that I was so excited, me and John, is seeing him now is going through a pastoral job, which is the greatest choice that he have taken.
The Port Moresby Rackets Club President Kim Kribish has told MTV Sports that they need more junior players between the ages of 4 and 5. He is appealing to parents and teachers of individual schools to start engaging with the Rackets Club. So far, 120 students from Pom Grammar of grades 5 and 6 have started engaging its students through the development program. Kribish says while the young development squads are between the ages of 15 and 18, he reckons mentoring children at an earlier age would be better in the long run for PNG.
They are here now twice a week with approximately 120 kids all out of grade 5 and grade 6. That's exactly kids which we want. Even I would prefer a little bit younger kids, maybe grade 3, grade 4. Just we have to find the next level for the Pacific Games 2031 because there is nothing coming after Madako, and the next come is now already 16 and 15 years. So they are already a bit late maybe, but we try to get them as far as we can. So that's why my appeal to all the schools who are watching this, send down your PE teachers, talk to Merlin and Eddie Mera for tennis and for squash, and try to get and secure space here because it's getting tight.
To cricket now, and former PNG Barramundi batsman Vani Vagimoria has called it time on his career as his teammates work towards regaining their ODI status once more. Moria retires with 82 caps to his name after losing his wife to cancer. He had a parting message to the country and aspiring cricket players in PNG.
I've been representing the country. It's been honor to represent your country and also play hard and became one of the great players. Mostly enjoy your game, enjoy the cricket and be the good player in the future.
And the rest of the exclusive interview with Vani Vagimoria will be featured on MTV Sports Scene Show. That's at Monday at 8 p.m. We go for a break now and be back with more of Trukai Sports after these messages. Stay tuned.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome back to Trukai Sports. To the NRL now, the North Queensland Cowboys are still outside of the top 8 after a disappointing loss to 4th-placed West Tigers on Thursday. The last year's grand finalists could not contain a spirited Tigers outfit after a 20-12 loss to open the 2018 NRL Indigenous round. In last night's matches, the Knights have registered their first back-to-back loss of the season, going down to the mighty Penrith Panthers 18-29. The 11th place Bulldogs put in a good performance after last week's disappointing loss to the Broncos, dominating the Parramatta Eels to finish the game 20-12. Bulldogs and Kumul's second rower, Reece Martin, made his second NRL appearance during that match. In tonight's doubleheader in Brisbane, Justin Olam has been named in the extended bench for the Melbourne Storm after the return of injured centre Curtis Scott. The Storm will take on the Titans in the opening match, with the Manly Sea Eagles to host the Brisbane Broncos in the second of the doubleheaders. To Super Rugby now, an Australian rugby player, Israel Folau, arrived in New Zealand to a barrage of questions about his anti-gay comments. He is in Christchurch for the Waratahs match against the Crusaders.
Stepping on New Zealand soil with nothing to say. Is there any chance we could talk to you about the game on Saturday? Teammates forming a barricade with luggage trolleys to shield the controversial Wallabies fullback from News Hub journalists.
As well, other players in Super Rugby said they'd be disgusted to play against you. What do you say to that?
I've said no comment, guys. That's all right.
You're happy to speak out on Twitter, online, but you're silenced now. What can we take that to mean? Are you afraid to talk now? Folau probably wasn't expecting a warm welcome in Christchurch, and he certainly didn't get it.
I just think that there's a difference between free speech and hate speech, and I think that he's exercising the latter, and I think we should stand up for it.
Waratahs coach Daryl Gibson, the only member of the team to speak, saying their sole focus is the game tomorrow night.
We're focused on rugby. That's been our focus ever since. Right here, bro. A lot of things have been going on around the team.
Whether Folau maintains the silence that he kept at the airport on social media while in Christchurch remains to be seen.
To netball, and retaining Maria Folau as a silver fern has seen Netball New Zealand make a strange arrangement. Now based out of Sydney with her husband Israel, Maria won't train with the Mystics and will only play a minimum of 3 games.
It's a rare sight to see Maria Folau at training.
It was quite weird, passing a ball around with some of the girls that some of them I've never met before.
She's the poster girl of New Zealand netball, but she'll really be seen throughout the ANZ Premiership.
I still have the desire to play in the black dress, so the only option for me was to play for a New Zealand franchise.
In order to skirt around the eligibility rules, Maria resides in Sydney, and the catch? Folau must play a minimum of 3 games. One of those, this week's loss to the Tactics, which saw Folau come off the bench 7 minutes into the second quarter. Was it a bit of a deal breaker that the Mystics and Netball NZ came to this agreement for you?
Yeah, pretty much. Oh look, it was always going to be a really hard decision. What was I going to give up?
Not wanting to follow Laura Langman to an Aussie franchise, Folau admits it was the only option left to remain a silver fern.
It is a very special arrangement, so I don't know how often you'll see it, but that's just the way it is and we have to deal with it.
I've been very transparent in the way we manage Maria. The girls were all part of the decision making.
In the meantime, Folau watches games from home and maintains she provides advice and feedback via social media.
That mentoring role is really key for me. I'm not going to be a Mystic forever, and my body's getting very old, so I would love to leave the Mystics in a really good state.
A new move that Netball New Zealand hope will retain key players and make amends to their recent record.
After nearly 2 decades in the sport of basketball, Lindsay Tate has called time on his career after almost all was taken away from him.
A Tall Black's career spanning 13 years, where he faced the sport's best at the World Champs. Not to mention 7 national titles and 3 MVP awards. But Lindsay Tate's never been one to talk himself up.
It's funny because the lows are the ones that stick with me the most.
While he was referring to defeats on the court, Tate almost lost a bigger battle off it.
I had cancer in my thyroid gland. and it had got into my lymph nodes, which is scary, right? And that's what all this is here. The scar, they had to take everything out. I looked like my head had been decapitated.
But it wasn't just his career that he worried would be cut short.
I said to myself, as long as I can make it to seeing my children, my sons become men, then they can take me. I'm comfortable with that, but I wasn't ready to go yet.
After being medically cleared, Tate wanted to play on for his 19th NBL season to teach his two sons a lesson in life.
I want them to be able to look back when times get hard and see that their dad, he got back up.
Tate's been up to his usual tricks in the NBL this season.
Sneaky pass.
And while he considers his Super City range as a long shot for the title, Tate has plenty of belief he can upset the odds again.
Whenever I step between the lines, I play to win.
Tate an inspiration both on and off the court.
And that's it for Trukai Sports. We go for a break now. When we come back, the weather details for the next 24 hours.
Trukai Sports.
The weather details were proudly brought to you by Dulux, celebrating 50 years in PNG and the only paint made in PNG.
I'll look at the weather forecast for the next 24 hours. We begin in the southern region as always. Port Moresby, partly cloudy with an evening shower or two with a top temperature of 31 degrees. 31 degrees as well for Daru and Kerama with a shower or two expected over the next 24 hours. Mostly fine for Alotau with a top of 31. Mostly fine, although becoming partly cloudy for Papandeta over the next 24 hours with a top temperature of 31 degrees. To the Momase region, Lae, mostly fine, becoming partly cloudy with a top of 31, 28 degrees. In Wa with some showers over the next 24 hours, mostly fine for Madang with a top of 31, fine, becoming cloudy for Wewak with a top of 31, 31 degrees as well for Vanimo with some brief showers over the next 24 hours. To the New Guinea Islands region, mostly fine, becoming partly cloudy for Lorengau and Manus Province. Kevang in New Ireland can expect some fine weather with showers later on with a top of 31, 31 degrees as well, and mostly fine weather expected in Kokopo, Rabaul and Kimbe. Fine becoming cloudy for Buka in the autonomous region of Bougainville with a top temperature of 31 degrees. And to the Highlands region, Mount Hagen, partly cloudy with an evening shower or two. Fine becoming partly cloudy for Goroka and Kundiawa with a top temperature of 25 degrees. Mendi and Wabek can expect cloudy weather with an evening shower or two with a top temperature of 23 degrees. I'll look at the forecast for small ships over the next 24 hours, and there is a warning. A strong wind warning current for all coastal waters of southern PNG Indonesian border through Torres Strait and Daru to Kiwai Island, to Kerama, Yule Island and to Hood Point. Waters of southern PNG Indonesian border through Torres Strait and Daru to Kiwai Island, to Kerama, to Yule Island, to Hood Point, seas 1 to 2.5 meters. Waters of Hood Point to Samurai Island, seas 1.5 to 2 meters. Waters of eastern and western Milne Bay Islands and waters of Samurai Island to Cape Vogel to Finchafen, seas 0.5 to 1.5 meters. And waters of Finchafen through Vitias and Dampier Straits to Siassi Island, to Long Island, and with waters of Long Island to Medang, Bogia, Wewak, Aitape, Vanimo to the northern PNG Indonesian border, and with waters of Manus and its western group of islands, and waters of New Britain to New Ireland and Bougainville, seas 0.5 to 1.3 meters. And a look at the ocean forecast for PNG areas. Coral Sea, seas rather rough with southeasterly winds at 20 to 25 knots. Solomon Sea, seas slight with southeasterly winds at 10 to 15 knots. Bismarck Sea, seas slight with southeasterly winds at 10 to 15 knots. And the Pacific Ocean, seas slight with east to southeasterly winds at 10 to 15 knots.
The weather details were proudly brought to you by Dulux, celebrating 50 years in PNG and the only paint made in PNG.
And before we go, a recap of our top stories again. Catholic Church commemorates Communications Day and focuses on the effects of fake news on society, learning literacy and life skills for a better future, and thinking global and acting locally in a local setting. And that's the news, sport and weather for today, Saturday, the 12th of May 2018. On behalf of the entire EMTV News team, pleasant viewing and happy Mother's Day to all your mothers for tomorrow. Good night.